Our theme for the year is Tikkun middot, and in each of our monthly videos, we're going to be highlighting specific middot. Today, I want to speak about two. Midah number 1, Chesed. Avram's actions at the beginning of this week's Parsha, Parsha Vayera, are often held up as the paradigm of Chesed. Let's read the psukim closely and see why. Vayera elav Hashem ve'elonei mamrei v'hu yoshev petach ha'oel kechom hayom. Avram has just had his Brit Milah. He's in pain. He's sitting outside his tent. It's hot out when Hashem appears to him in the form of malachim, angels. Vayisa einav vayar, v'hine shlosha anashim nitzavim alav, vayar, vayaratz likratam, mipetach ha'ohel, v'yishtachu arza. Avraham lifts his eyes and sees, vayar, and there are 3 men standing there. And then the pasuk says something a bit strange. It repeats the word vayar again. Avram didn't just see that the men were there. He saw that they were in need. He really looked and paid attention. And then, vayaratz likratan, he runs to greet them, even though he is in physical pain. He addresses their needs, providing them with water, shade, and food. There are 3 distinct steps to Avram's act of chesed. Step number 1, a willingness to let go of his own needs. He's in pain, it's very hot outside, but he's not focused on himself. Step number 2, he pays attention. That's the double vayar. He's stationed outside the tent and displays a willingness to really notice what others need. Step number 3, the response is quick. Vayaratz, he runs. This is a really great model for how to do chesed. Number 1, don't focus too much on yourself. Number 2, pay close attention to the need around you. Number 3, act and act fast. I want to take the model of chesed presented in this week's Parsha and see if we can apply it to another midah, the midah of Anava, humility. One of the hardest things to do as a teacher is to help kids with very strong opinions listen to each other. Not just wait their turn to talk, but really hear each other out and listen. The more heated the debate gets, the more entrenched we become in our own opinions and view of the world. And this applies to adults as well as to kids. We want to be right. To approach the world with Anava, we need to be good listeners. So let's take Avram's model of chesed and apply it to Anava. What might that look like? Number 1, to really listen, we need to let go of our need to be right. Number 2, vayar. We actively note and seek out people whose opinions might be different than our own. Number 3, vayaratz. Anava is not passive. Be curious and ask questions. This is obviously much easier said than done. The good news is, we're not born as good listeners or as bad listeners. It takes practice, and it is something we can cultivate. I want to end by sharing my favorite Gemara about Anava. Here's the Gemara Psachim, Daf Chaf Bet Amud Bet. Nehemiah Ha'amsoni hayad doresh kol etim shabatorah. Nehemiah Ha'amsoni would interpret every single word et, that, in the Torah. He believed every time the Torah says et, it meant to include something. So he went through every single instance of the word et in the Torah. This was not just his dissertation, this was really his life's work, and he did it along with his students. Kevan she'egia le et Hashem Elokecha tira piresh. When he came to et Hashem Elokecha tira, fear Hashem your God, he stopped. There's a problem here. The word et can't come to include anything else. The Torah would not be telling us to fear gods other than Hashem. He's in Sefer Dvarim. He's in the last book of the Torah. He's almost done. But there's a problem. His students turn to him and say, Rebbe, all of those ets that you've spent your life explicating, what will become of them? I love the question because what they're really asking him is, how do you respond when you're presented with a truth that questions a strongly held belief? Here's his response. Amar lahem, Kashem shekibalti schar al hadrisha, kach ani mekabel schar al haprisha. Just as I receive reward for interpreting, I will receive reward for retracting. Rabbi Akiva then comes along and makes a drasha on the et, but I actually want to focus on Nehemiah's response. He's willing to publicly retract in front of his students, something he'd worked so hard at when presented with evidence to the contrary. That is Anava. Let's go back to our 3 steps. Number 1, Nehemiah is able to let go of his need to be right. Number 2, vayar. He's willing to really hear and take in another view. Number 3, vayaratz. He's curious. He's a searcher. May we all be zocha to follow his example.